The PFL is back. This is their first event of 2021. This is the full card predictions, the weigh-in recap, and the updated betting preview and breakdown. Should be a pretty fun card here. Make sure you guys smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. We're going to start it off with the first fight of the night. This fight here, lightweight division. Exciting matchup and widespread odds between these guys. At this point, these odds you're seeing on screen are not up to date. Some lines have them a lot wider. Loik Radzhabov versus Alex Martinez. It starts the card off, and it is high-level stuff here. I will pull off the face-off here between these two. That's Martinez on the scale. That was Loik. Face-to-face, they look about the same size as far as height goes. Martinez slightly taller, but nothing substantial. And especially in this fight, taking on a very serious test in Loik Radzhabov, a guy who's a dangerous striker, does bring power to the punches. Very good boxing range. You know, he mixes it up, and I do think having 8 knockouts on the record and never being finished, that's an impressive feat to have. Granted, Alex Martinez has never been beaten as a professional fighter, and he was also 15-4 as an amateur. He is the replacement here on short notice. He does have a pretty good submission game, 4 victories by submission. Being a short notice replacement, taking on Loik Radzhabov here, I mean, he did make weight. We can see him on the scales. I mean, from what we see, he looked fine. I mean, he's in decent shape, but I don't believe you can get ready for a very hard 3-round fight on fairly short notice here. It's going to be difficult. We've seen guys lose doing it before. If you watch one championship, you know Sawada lost to Li Tao Mao, taking on short notice, a guy that he beat in the past. I believe we're going to see Loik Radzhabov TKO Alex Martinez. This is a huge opportunity for Martinez, and I do wish him well, and I look forward to this fight. But I think he gets TKO'd probably in the 3rd or 2nd round, maybe towards the end, but more in the 3rd is how I'm feeling. And I do think he may start seeing some fatigue setting in. Now, the odds for this fight specifically have gotten a bit wider. -400, -430. Granted, not as widespread as I was thinking. I was actually mixing that up, I believe, with a different fight on the night. But the odds are still fairly widespread. And you have to have some serious confidence in Loik Radzhabov to beat Alex Martinez, an undefeated guy. Personally, I do have that confidence in him. I'm picking him to win, and I am picking him to get the finish. I think Loik Radzhabov beats Alex Martinez here inside the distance by TKO and gives the man his first defeat. Second fight on this card, Sung Bin Jo and Tyler Diamond. Diamond's a notable name, if you remember from The Ultimate Fighter. Good performances there. He takes on Sung Bin Jo, 9-1 as a professional. The stylistic matchup here, from what I've seen of Bin Jo, he is a pretty good striker. Has that one fight in the UFC, lost to Daniel Tamar. Tamar, pretty good striker, but has had issues on the ground. Granted, in that matchup, was able to defeat Sung Bin Jo, who has definitely more of a Thai striking style. You look at Diamond, though, he brings in very good wrestling, does have pretty good striking as well. Definitely not you know, his main priority, I do think, is going to be getting the fight to the ground. And I think here he's going to do it. He's a hot prospect, tough veteran. I like Diamond inside the distance. I think it's a TKO as well. I think he beats Sung Bin Jo. We can see them here. The mullet for Tyler Diamond has gave him so much success. I believe that might be one of the keys. Bin Jo is taller, but Diamond's going to wrestle. He's going to have the taller guy. I think it'll be easier to get at the legs. Look for double legs. Look for work against the cage. Tyler Diamond, I think on the ground, could get a TKO in this fight. If not, unanimous decision. But I do like Diamond by TKO. Looking at how widespread the odds are, -325 to +250. That's some confidence here. Granted, I guess they don't have prop bets on the undercard. That's really disappointing. I wish they'd have prop bets on every fight. But they have them on the main card, so I guess no prop bets right now. But I do think Tyler Diamond is a good parlay addition. If you want to throw the money down to bet him straight up, that is a fairly pricey entry point, but granted, I would say he's a lock for victory here over Sung Bin Jo. Now, next fight on this undercard, Chris Wade and Anthony Pettis. Chris Wade, pretty good fighter, the Long Island Killer. He has a UFC record of 5-2. That's something I did want to talk about. You look at the guys he's fought: Islam Makhachev, Rustam Khaybulaev, losing to those guys who were just superior grapplers, because Chris Wade is a really good grappler. His style is clinch pressure, try to get you to the ground, and you know, potentially work for submissions or ground and pound. With Dizay, I've seen pretty good wrestling out of him, though, and does have top control in his own right. Both being grapplers, we could definitely see some striking here, but still, I really got to lean Chris Wade. He's had some good high-level experience, and I do think he'll be the better of the two if he gets that top position. I do think at a minus 260, do I really want to throw down the straight-up bet on him against a guy that has shown decent wrestling? I don't. But I will say, interesting thing to note as well is the stats. 5'10" is Chris Wade, but he's at a 3-inch reach disadvantage to the 5'7" Anthony Dizay, who brings in a 73-inch reach. Something to note on the feet, in the boxing range, Dizay will have the extra range. Let's check out the images from the weigh-ins here, and we'll see how accurate those measurements are, because sometimes you'll here, the height difference is 4 inches, and it looks like 2 or 2 inches, and they look the same height. Chris Wade a bit taller. Yeah, I would say those are accurate. I think Chris Wade goes out there and gets it done by a hard-fought decision, but I'm personally not going to bet on this one. But I do think Chris Wade does win here. Let's check out if the odds have shifted at all. Minus 325, plus 250. It really depends on what betting site you're going to be on, but you'll find them varying around the minus 300 range. In favor of Chris Wade at this point later on in the week. The next fight on this undercard, Akhmad Aliyev and Mikhail Odintsov. This fight, if you've noticed, a lot of heavy favorites. This fight, more pick'ems odds. Very glad to see it, and I'm very excited to see who wins this matchup. Both guys, pretty good. I mean, Aliyev's an all-right striker, I would say, from what I've seen. He has good movement, but doesn't have good hands. Does have pretty good kicks, something I have to note. Solid wrestling to the table, definitely has it, and he beat Rashid Magomedov. That's a notable win. Now his opponent, Odintsov, southpaw with a very good kickboxing ability, and also has quality wrestling. And I think that's something you really need to take note of here. That's going to be a factor. I believe Odintsov will be able to stop the takedown, at least majority, and he'll be able to outstrike Akhmad Aliyev. I could see him pulling off a TKO. He does have a bit of power, 6 knockouts on the resume, but does have 8 wins by decision, also 4 by submission. He's pretty well-rounded. I do think Michael Odintsov to win this fight on an upset is my pick, and I do think it's by a decision. I think he does get it done. We'll quickly look at how they looked at weigh-ins to see. I went through the weigh-ins earlier, and obviously nothing really can change my mind substantially when they're wearing full shirts. And I did check out the weigh-ins a bit too, but it's both look in good shape, both similar size. I mean, granted, taller man, rather, it is Odintsov, which definitely, looking at it, it's got to slightly give you even more confidence in him from the kickboxing range. I think he beats Akhmad Aliyev here. I really do. I'm going to pick him, and I'm going to throw money on a dog. This is the dog that I like on this card. A top-heavy card. This is a dog that I have faith in. I'll quickly check if the odds have shifted here on this website. Plus 125, plus 130. Depends where you go, but the odds are still fairly close to pick'ems on some, but other lines have shifted a bit farther apart. So I would say pick up maybe Odintsov. I don't know if a lot of people have researched him. I do think he's a solid pickup. Now, this fight here is interesting. Raush Manfio and Jotin Luterbach, both tough Brazil vets. Manfio eliminated in his first fight, and then Jotin Luterbach actually won 1 fight and lost 1 fight. So something to note there, having some experience with Manfio. I will say, you know, not a ton of footage as of recent on either guy. You know, granted, they were on The Ultimate Fighter back in the day, but that's a long time ago, and their skill sets probably have improved. Manfio definitely can strike and does have 7 knockouts on the resume. Also supposedly sparred with Jake Paul, which I don't know if that means he's got good boxing. Who the hell really knows? It's just something I wanted to note that I heard. With Luterbach, he has a KO win in Cage Warriors. It was a quick KO. It was definitely one of his more notable leagues that he fought in, besides obviously being on The Ultimate Fighter. Very well versed. At 28, he's got 34-8 record. I mean, that's a lot of experience for being 28 years of age. Granted, hasn't had all of the most highest level of experience, but good skill set and very versatile ways to win. 12 knockouts and 12 submissions with 11 decisions. I'm going to predict that he evens that off and has 12, 12, and 12, and I think he beats Raush Manfio on a decision in this fight. That's going to be my pick in this matchup here. And I do think it will be a pretty interesting fight between these two guys here. Actually, let's look at the weigh-in image. Yeah, that's one thing. Usman Field does come in excellent shape. Granted, the height difference, something to know, and just he has the gains and whatnot, but this is not a bodybuilding contest. Obviously, he's going to have strength in the clinch positions. Manfio is going to be difficult to deal with, but I have confidence in Luderback. The experience should be the difference, but I mean, if there's a live dog on the card at as wide of odds, definitely Manfio, a dog I would keep an eye on. If you like to go just by weigh-ins, you gotta like the strength that he's gonna have with the physique in the clinch, but I don't necessarily think that wins you the fight. Let's look at the odds here. Find them. Manfio plus 185, Luderback minus 245, so the odds fairly widespread, so some moderate confidence in Luderback. I do think he pulls it off, but if you have to look at dogs that you're feeling confident, especially when you look at the weigh-ins, Raush Manfio is a dog to keep an eye on if you're looking to take some risk. Now, Brendan Loughnane and Sheymon Moraes, a fight with closer odds than a lot of the other fights, but still, they do have a fairly clear favorite going in, but I do like things that Loughnane does. He's a good kickboxer. Definitely is a guy who likes to strike. He's going to be on the feet. That's the majority of his game. Chops down the legs very nicely and does mix up high and low attacks very well. If you look, I mean, he beat Bill Algeo, who's now become pretty decent, you know, in the UFC. 10 knockouts, 7 decisions, and he did fight in UFC one time in 2012, lost to Mike Wilkinson. He was very young at the time. Sheymon Moraes, on the other hand, is a Thai-style striker, who's a recent UFC fighter, very recent. Doesn't move his head a ton, did cost him in that Feely fight. Does control the center well, and his kicks are heavy. He does have the knockout loss in his last fight against Andre Feely. In a striker versus striker fight like this, I just feel like somebody's going to sleep. I like Brendan Loughnane inside the distance over Sheymon Moraes. If Moraes lands a powerful punch, it definitely could go the other way. He has the power to do it. We'll quickly pull up the weigh-in image. Both of them. Height advantage for Loughnane. I do think in that kickboxing range, he's going to be able to avoid a lot of the punches and even some of the heavy kicks from Sheymon Moraes. But I do think there will be competitive moments in this fight, without a doubt, because Moraes is a pretty decent striker. Odds pretty similar, minus 175 to plus 145. Depends where you go. I like Loughnane to get it done, and I like him to do it inside the distance potentially here over Sheymon Moraes. It could go the decision, but I think they're going to bring it, especially with PFL's format of earning points, and then that's going to take you to the next round. I like Loughnane. That's the featured prelim, and now we've arrived to the main card. If you haven't yet, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out growing the page, getting it to more eyes, and just expanding and making better and better content. But let's start it off. The first fight on this main card, Lance Palmer fights Bubba Jenkins. I'm really pumped for this fight. If you don't know Bubba Jenkins, he's a Bellator veteran. He's a pretty good fighter. He's known for some solid wrestling, does have some pop in the hands, granted, some bad losses that he finished off in Bellator with, but he is a solid fighter, without a doubt. Has taken time off, hasn't been super active as of late. Is on a 3-fight win streak in Brave CF, but I mean, they haven't been in 1 year. I think it's been over the course of like 3 years. We can quickly look here. So he made his, or rather ACB, he's also been fighting. He's got 2 straight wins in Brave CF, and he also won an ACB. So that was in 3 years and 6 months ago. So in 3 years and 6 months, he's had 3 fights. So less than 1 fight a year versus Lance Palmer, in a year and 10 months ago. I mean, he had 5 fights. He was fighting super actively, before PFL shut down. I don't think a year off, as how active he was probably good for his body to take a bit of a break. And now he takes on Bubba Jenkins, who I feel like kind of plays into the style of Lance Palmer. He kind of wants to do the same thing. Both these guys are very good wrestlers. They like to get on top and are decent with the striking. I will say something. Lance Palmer's a southpaw. Bubba Jenkins has power in that right hand. I'm not saying he's going to get the knockout here. I can't go out on a puncher's chance in this fight because I do think Palmer's going to have a very smart game plan. Bubba Jenkins can crack a bit. And if he landed one on the chin of Lance Palmer, he could get the knockout. I do feel like Palmer beats him if they fought 10 times, 7, 8 times out of 10. But could this be one of the 2 fights that would go the other way? I think Lance Palmer wins, and mathematically, in my head, I see him doing so by a unanimous decision. But Bubba Jenkins got some pop in the hands. So let's check out the odds for this fight. Actually, first, let's go through the weigh-in images. Apologize that they take a while to load, or rather, MMA Junkie site to run a bit awkwardly. Very good shape is Bubba Jenkins, but Lance Palmer just as jacked. Taller guys, Bubba Jenkins too. Both are in great shape. I feel like it doesn't really sway anyway. I still think Lance Palmer for a decision, but there's got to be something we talk about with the punching power. Let's look at the prop bet. So basic odds, you're going to be looking at plus 315 for Bubba Jenkins, minus 410 for Lance Palmer. If you like the under 2.5, it's plus 190. I don't like that because I think Palmer winning is more so by a decision. Goes the distance. They see it going that way. Let's find out here. Bubba Jenkins wins inside the distance plus 510. But I also like the pick. If you're going to be throwing money down, Jenkins wins by a TKO. You can find it at plus 900 on Bet Online. Personally, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but if you're into having a little fun, $10 can make you $90 here. So it's something to note. Maybe. Likelihood, low. Possibility is there. More so a realistic pick, at least for me, would be seeing Lance Palmer win by a decision. Let's see here. Palmer by a decision at minus 145, though I wouldn't really want to play that just in case he gets the finish. If you're going Palmer, parlay him. If you're going Jenkins, I think prop bet him. That's my pick in that one. That's my opinion there. I do think we're in store for a pretty fun overall card. It's a good way to start off the main card. Who knows if this will be the final lineup. Tapology sometimes mixes it all around, but I'm 99% sure this is going to be the lineup that we'll be riding with for fight night. All right, Movlid Khaybulaev versus Lazar Stojadinovic. Very exciting fight here between interesting matchups, I would definitely say. Guys that kind of opposing styles in a way, because with Movlid, he's got the grappling base, does train with Khabib Nurmagomedov, which I think that's got to boost his grappling game a ton, and I think he's going to put a lot of it on Lazar here. He does also have pretty good stand-up from what I've seen, and he moves his head a lot, which I love to see. Also throws a nice jab. Lazar is a southpaw. That's something maybe could cause some issues. Does have good hands and mixes it up well in the pocket. So I feel like Lazar on the feet is competitive, but still lead Movlid. But especially when this fight gets into the clinch, gets on the ground, I think Movlid smashes his way to a second round TKO here, even earlier. But I think a TKO from Movlid, he gets it done inside the distance, second round TKO, and I think he's dominant. We'll pull up the weigh-in and check that out before we go to the betting. Little bit of pudge on the side, but not bad shape. Opponent here, we don't see the physique, but it doesn't really matter. We know the skill sets, and it's about the skills, not how they look. All right, so looking at the odds, yeah, this is the fight that I had mixed up earlier. They are widespread. Minus 725, plus 470. I'm going to do this. If you want to throw Movlid on a parlay, go for it. But if you're looking to try to make money off this fight, you're obviously going to want to play with a bit of a prop bet. Wins inside the distance, minus 140. I don't love that bet, but it does save you just in case he gets the submission, because he could get the submission. Movlid winning by a TKO at Bet Online is plus 150. Do I want to throw down for that? Not really. Personally, not going to be playing any bet on this fight, but I will have Movlid in a parlay. He's a parlay guy because he's a lock pick, and he's going to destroy Lazar here. It's pretty much as dominant as I can see it. 15-0-1 record. Daniel Pineda did actually beat him, if you look back, but he got caught very early. Overall, the skill set's very good, and I do think we're in store for an intriguing fight here between both of these men. All right, let's get to the next fight, which is the co-main event of the evening, Natan Schulte versus Marcin Held. Marcin Held has been around for so long. He's a guy that I've been a fan of for a long time growing up in Bellator. I mean, he was like early 20s, maybe like teenager, fighting in Bellator and actually doing really well. And then he went to the UFC and kind of was a bit of a disappointment. Did, I believe, beat Nasrat Hakparast, which, I mean, that's a pretty big win. At this point, Nasrat has gone to do fairly well. Natan Schulte, he's the former champion here in PFL. He won in 2019. He's an excellent fighter. I mean, he's a Thai-style striker with very good kicks. His style is to walk you down and pressure you. He doesn't give you the respect. He's going to look to land takedowns, get on top, and work. And when he gets on top, he is resilient with pursuing the control and then the submissions, and he's very successful at doing so. But Marcin Held is a very dangerous submission artist in his own right. Heel hooks on the record, knee bars. I mean, this is a guy you need to be careful of the legs with. He's a tricky grappler. In MMA, sometimes those positions don't work, but sometimes they do. Natan Schulte is a top pressure grappler. Does he go out there and smash Marcin Held? It could happen. But this is going to be a legit test. Skill for skill when they get to the ground. It's a very interesting fight. Let's pull up the weigh-in image before we finish talking about it. There's Marcin and there's Natan. The visual image for Natan Schulte here. But Schulte is in very good shape, you can see. As was Marcin, even though you can't see. I mean, he's always in good shape. I feel like in this fight, size is similar. If you're looking for a dog and you want to, you need to bet a dog, and I think we all do. I don't know why I'm feeling Marcin Held. Earlier in the week, I said Natan Schulte, and I did believe he would get it done over Marcin. But seeing them side by side, I think this is a fight. It's going to be much more competitive than the odds have it, I feel. I mean, I could be way wrong here. I'm personally throwing a prop bet on a Marcin Held submission victory in this one. Even though earlier in the week, I did pick Natan Schulte. I'm feeling something. Possibility, I feel like it's going to be with the legs, the submission. That's the way he would get it. It would be something weird. I don't know. Is that a smart bet? Maybe not. But I am kind of feeling it. Let's check out the odds for that. Marcin Held, plus 345 dog, minus 470 favorite for Schulte. What I want is Held by submission. It's plus 600. I mean, if you thinking, hey, let me just throw 20 bucks. I'm going to throw something at it. I'm probably not going to go crazy. I'm not trying to break the bank with it. But I mean, you could make a little something playing that bet if you were interested in doing so. I mean, 100 bucks makes you 600, but how likely is it to happen? I'm going to call it around 25%, maybe less, maybe 10%, maybe 5%, but I'm feeling like it's possible for tomorrow night, and that's what it's really about. I can't fully commit to saying that I think Held is guaranteed victory here. Natan Schulte on paper does probably beat him 9 times or 8 times out of 10. But Marcin Held, those 2 times, catches a leg lock. I don't know. This is a very tricky fight. I'm swaying my pick towards Held right now, but I'm not saying it like for the faint of heart, don't go bet on Marcin Held. For you savages out there, maybe throw a little something down. And we got a little Mystic Mac pick here. Leg lock. Maybe. That's what I'm saying. That's my pick. The main event of the evening, Anthony Pettis versus Clay Collard. Collard has done so much boxing as of late, if you don't know. He's had a lot of fights. He's like 8-4-3, I believe, in a matter of 2 years of boxing. Granted, he turned it up and is 7-3 in his past 10. That's pretty impressive, I feel like. I mean, been on a pretty good roll. He was actually on a big win streak, beating undefeated guys. Anthony Pettis, legend of the game. Does anything really need to be said about Anthony Pettis more than, I mean, the guy's amazing. He can strike at a high level. He can grapple at a high level. He does bring in a grappling edge here, I feel like. Look at Clay Collard. He comes in shape as always. Showtime Pettis actually looks really fucking lean. This is a motivated Pettis. He looks in incredible shape. Guys leave the UFC and just get in better shape all of a sudden. All right, so Anthony Pettis, Clay Collard. I'm very excited for this fight. Anthony Pettis is going to win it. I can't see Clay pulling off the upset. People have commented and said, oh, I think Clay could do it. Hey, I wish you well, and if you're placing that bet, good luck. But personally, I feel Anthony Pettis should run through Clay Collard. This is a level mismatch. Clay Collard has never fought anybody nearly as good as Anthony Pettis. Actually, he might have fought against Max Holloway earlier in his career. But as of recent, he hasn't fought anybody as good. Anthony Pettis is on another level than Clay Collard. He's gonna run through him. I don't necessarily think by knockout. I'm actually leaning submission, to be honest. Let's check out the odds. Minus 565 to plus 410. Pettis more of a parlay addition. Doesn't always deliver with the finishes. I really feel like he's gonna here in the PFL. If you want to play a prop, Pettis by submission plus 300. Pettis by TKO plus 160. Not loving that. Let's see if we can get a Pettis by decision plus 200. I don't like any of these props, to be honest with you. I think Pettis is more of a parlay pickup. I don't know necessarily if it's worth it to take the risk on a prop here, because I think he has a lot of ways to win. You could obviously out kickbox him for 3 rounds and win a decision. Pettis, yeah, or rather Collard, yeah, he can box, but Pettis is a kickboxer. And in that kickboxing range, I think there's going to be an obvious difference. Granted, if they get in close to boxing range, obviously Collard has the power. He could maybe do something. But I don't think so. Also, if they go to the ground, Pettis has the edge. You look at the ways that Clay Collard is known to lose by. 3 submission losses on the resume. Pettis has 10 submission wins, also has 8 knockouts as well. I don't know. I'm not saying Collard is definitely not an easy guy to submit, but Pettis maybe gets a submission here. I'm leaning submission by Anthony Pettis or decision. I could maybe see him getting a TKO, but I do got to respect the striking skill of Clay Collard. I feel like Pettis, though, for the victory is a lock pick. I do think it's an excellent fight. I do think Collard's going to bring it, but I think Anthony Pettis will be victorious in his debut, and I look forward to seeing his results here. I think potentially could win this tournament. I mean, there are legitimate threats that will be featured here in this 155-pound division. You see some of the competition. I mean, Pettis, Natan Schulte is there, Marcin Held, Clay, who he's fighting. You know, guys that we don't know a ton about yet here, but I mean, Khaybulaev, Dinstov, to start off the night, Loik Razdabov, Alex Martinez. I mean, there's a lot of guys that might have a legit chance of pulling off the victory over Pettis when the time comes. I mean, granted, this is just his first bout. He's going to have to fight one of these other savages here, and I do think there's some really competitive matchups in the PFL. It's an excellent league. We'll quickly look at the betting one last time. If you want to do a parlay, we could quickly look at what's possible. I don't love how widespread some of these odds have gotten, but let's talk about a couple. So Loik Razabov, I feel like he's a very quality pickup. Personally, gonna be on my parlay. I like him to win. And then looking through, who do I feel is worth, you know, the risk? I feel like Movlid is another guy definitely worth it. Granted, it's not going to bring you in the best of graces at minus 237. Pettis there brings you to minus 148. I don't mind paying that, to be honest with you. And I do think this is more of a lock. An idea that did come to mind to me was maybe I play with a plus 277 with Odinstov. This is going to be, I'm going to call this my high risk parlay of the day. That's like reasonable, you know, a 4-fight, not 10-fight crazy stuff. But I mean, you never know. He's a dog. There's 4 fights. Things could go a different way, but I like at plus 277 this parlay here with Razabov, Movlid, Pettis, and Odinstov. But I am going to take off Odinstov in the more safe 3-fight option. Loik Razabov, Movlid, Khaybulaev, and Anthony Showtime Pettis at minus 148. I would say it is an absolute lock. And it's almost printing yourself money at this point. If I'm going to add somebody else, definitely Tyler Diamond. I was also thinking this is my safe 4-5 parlay. If you want to call any betting safer. Loik Razabov, that's a plus 119 with him. Movlid, Pettis, and Tyler Diamond. Those are my parlays that I like. If you want to go crazy, this is my final one I'm showing you guys. This is the craziest parlay that I'm going to show you. And this is a 5-fight parlay with possibility. Odinstov, Diamond, Pettis, Movlid, and Razabov at plus 393. Obviously, your bookie will be slightly different than what you're seeing here, but it's going to be ranging around that. I like this parlay for the highest risk one. Good parlays. We talked about some good fights on the card. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I enjoyed talking to you guys about it. Make sure you guys smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Some awesome fights will be on this card. Also, follow my social media, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. I might be going live tomorrow for PFL. I will let you guys know. I'll post some on YouTube. I'll also post some on the social media platforms. But I thank you all so much. See you guys in the next one.